like this 94 Cutlass Supreme Special Edition, featuring anti-lock brakes, V6 engine, automatic, air, AM/FM cassette, cruise control, driver's airbag, and one price for all, $16,995. The affordable $16,995 Cutlass Supreme Family Benefits Package, now at your local Oldsmobilers dealer.
Bob Coop, tonight on News 4, 5:30 Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rush Limbaugh.
You know, there's a woman in this audience. I know she doesn't want to be here. I've been trying to find out, and I came out in the audience warm-up and says, is there any liberal here? No, it's not you. No, it's not her. It's not her. She's very, no. I don't want to point her out because I don't want to embarrass her. I have no idea. She's not standing up during any of the ovations. She's not applauding during the times any of the audience applauds, but she's smiling. So I don't quite understand it. She knows who she is, but I'm not going to point her out. We have a show to do here, folks. I'm glad you've joined us. Wait a minute. I don't have to unbutton this. I've lost weight. I can sit down with this still button. See, look at this. All right. Yeah. My friends, we talked as we got together on our most recent broadcast. We talked about the tent that was set up at the White House that was pro-NAFTA. All these people that came in that manufacture high-tech things. Microsoft was in there, and Sarah Lee, and a number of other... Well, I don't know if you call... Well, I wasn't... What am I going to tell them is high-tech about Sarah Lee? And it's probably the way they manufacture their goods as opposed to what the goods are. Anyway, the whole point was that we are not exporting our jobs down to Mexico, and we don't have to do it. Well, there was also something else that went on that day on the lawn of the White House. This is absolutely amazing, and you have not seen this reported. I bet you in your newspaper, or and if it's been in your newspaper, it's been buried in the back somewhere. Probably has not been featured prominently on your local news on TV or any of that. And I can't let this show go by without pointing it out to you. It's from the Washington Times on October 21st. The headline of the story, AIDS czar tells Americans to seek their pleasure in sex. This is the facts as it came into me. We don't actually have the newspaper, but right there, AIDS czar tells Americans to seek their pleasure in sex. And I want to show you something. The AIDS czar, by the way, is a woman named Christine Gebbe. And she's had a long history in the health fields. And I wanted to pull some of the quotes from the story to indicate, because I'm amazed. We have this disease, AIDS, and what is it, about 96% of all cases of AIDS are spread by some kind of sexual activity. Maybe it's 78%. No, it's about 90. And then the other 10 are blood transfusions and birth and drugs, IV drugs. 90% of the cases are spread by sexual activity. And here she is, AIDS czar tells Americans to seek their pleasure in sex. Now, listen to some of these quotes. Put them up individually. Here we go. Talking about sex in terms of don't and disease is not working. And Americans must start viewing sex as an essentially important and pleasurable thing. Now, how is she... First place, who doesn't look at it as a pleasurable thing? I mean, it is not a temptingly pleasurable thing. And it is called discipline and restraint that cause people to behave properly or improperly in the sexual arena. But when you got the AIDS czar out there saying, hey, go to town and enjoy it. It's good. But how do they define talking about sex in terms of don't and disease is not working? And I can be really brazen and bold here, because I think it is. I think that there is a vast increase in the amount of responsibility. It just happens to be in the heterosexual adult world. But kids, we're giving them condoms. We're encouraging them to go out. There's nothing we would do, but here, kid, go ahead. We know we can't stop you. We have the sense to stop ourselves. But because it's not, look, hate to say this, disease is not spreading like wildfire into the heterosexual community by way of sexual contact. It's just not happening. They can say all they want about how it's going to, but it hasn't. Another quote, until they do so, we will continue to be a repressed Victorian society that misrepresents information, denies sexuality early, denies homosexual sexuality, particularly in teens, and leaves people abandoned with no place to go. Unless we start talking about sex, we're going to be homeless. It doesn't make sense to me. This is our AIDS czar. Here's another. I want to change the way the nation looks at AIDS. How is she going to change the way we look at AIDS? Is there going to be a new criterion? We ought to look at it with a lot of fear, a lot of fearful respect, a lot of trepidation. We don't. In fact, you know, we do need to start looking at it that way. She's right about this. We're looking at it as a civil rights case. It's the first protected virus in the country. It has its own set of civil rights, and we ought to stop looking at it politically and looking at it as a health issue, which we're not. It's a political issue. She doesn't mean that, though, so you are, again, fortunate to have me to translate what she really means or should have meant. When we approach AIDS, we approach it as a sexual disease, not a plague. Now, that's by the way, not her. That's her assistant, Ben Morill, special assistant to Christine Gebby. When we approach AIDS, we approach it as a sexual disease, not a plague. Are we supposed to approach it as a plague? Is that what you would prefer us to do, approach it as a plague? But it's a sexual disease, too. And it's not spreading as, it's not spreading at all in epidemic proportions in the heterosexual community. It just isn't. In addition, now I'm not going to put this word up there because I don't want to fan flames here, but there are people in the AIDS activist community who are unhappy with Christine Gebby. No, you're saying, well, I would be too. No. Here's the AIDS czar. I mean, this is what the AIDS community demanded that President Clinton do for them. Now, this man's name is his name. What I'm going to tell you his name is his name. He's changed his name. Obviously, he's trying to make a political statement with his name. Mr. Luke Sissyfag. Don't laugh. Would you not laugh? Would you? See, what's going to happen is I'm going to say his name. It's his name. It's right here in this paper. Luke Sissyfag, an AIDS activist who criticized Ms. Gebby, said of her comments yesterday, Christine, put your money where your mouth is. She says the right things like Bill Clinton, but doesn't do anything about it. So we're going to get cards and letters. See, you're making up names. You're making fun. No. I'm a journalist. I'm just reporting here what I see. We have one more story. We got another asinine mascot is bad story. This time it's from the University of Alabama, Birmingham. Do you know what here, look at their mascot. Put this up there. That is it's called Blaze. That's a blazer. That's the mascot. There have been now leave it up as I talk about this. You've got to hear what the criticism of this is. Blaze is too violent, too mean, too white, and too male. And the athletic director, the sports information director, is a guy named Grant Shingleton. He says, I hate to use the word, but Blaze is too Aryan. And he is a white male figure who didn't represent women or the ethnic mix on campus. And so they got rid of Blaze. He is gone. That's their mascot. This is another example of how the PC crowd, a very small minority, amplifying their voices so that it sounds thousands of times louder than it really is, has now caused another wimp administration at an institution of higher learning to cave in to a bunch of pressure. And this is getting to be too much. Because let me tell you the irony of this. You know all the Native Americans and the Indians out there who are upset like with Washington Redskins or the tomahawk chop at the Atlanta Braves game? Here, watch that. What do you think of this? I love a tomahawk chop. Why do they say we get rid of the Redskins or the tomahawk chop? Because it offends them, right? It offends Native Americans, offends the Indians. Well, if anybody ought to be mad at this, it ought to be Aryans. It ought to be people who are too mean, too white, and too male. And they're not mad. So here it is. The activists, you can't offend them. by making fun of them, and you cannot offend them by not even talking about them. This has nothing to do with them, and yet they say it offends. They want to control every aspect, folks, of your thoughts and of your ability to think, speak, and whatever else. And they got institutions caving in and going along with it. Minnesota Vikings. You know who would be mad about that is people who live over there in Northland. What is it, Holland, Dutch? Do you see them complaining? No. Who's mad at the Vikings? Probably some animal group is mad at the Vikings because of what they did to get them. It's absolutely stupid. And, you know, people laugh and think this is funny and so forth. And as isolated incidents, they are funny. But it's unfortunate. People ought to be just, you are stupid. Go the hell back to class. Start paying attention to what we're trying to teach you so that when you get out of here, you're capable of working and earning a living instead of sponging off the rest of society. Now, get out of my office is what they ought to be told. And we'll be back right after this.
Laura Glenn is being dragged down by a tough cold. But she's about to break free with an effervescent rush of relief. Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Pills take time to dissolve, but Alka-Seltzer Plus is ready the moment you take it, rushing powerful medicines to soothe your aches, relieve your runny nose, free your breathing. Nothing rushes relief like Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Miller Genuine Draft Rusty Wallace Stock Car. See it. Hear it. Feel it. Catch it, if you can.
Mark Jason's interest in law and the judiciary began at an early age when his father was elected to the Supreme Court in 1958. Throughout Mark's legal career, he has been a trial attorney litigating civil and criminal cases in all state courts and federal court. With that experience, Mark is now ready to serve in the state Supreme Court. Jason, a tradition of public service. Mark Jason for State Supreme Court.
What's cooking?
Something new from Dunbar's.
Everyone's cooking with a colorful, convenient bell pepper in a jar.
Sweeten your made-from-scratch recipes.
Add color to healthy snacks.
From breakfast to dinner, it's quick and it's simple. Make ordinary meals extraordinary.
The perfect bell pepper every time. Make a pepper in a jar.
Try Dunbar's new bell pepper in a jar.
Thank you. It's time to revisit this violence on television business. We talked about it a couple of shows ago, but there are some things here which need to be said, and I want to concentrate on the lack of personal responsibility that seems to be sweeping this country. We want to excuse everybody for what they do, find other situations to blame, other people to blame, anything other than the person who actually does something, good or bad. It's never their fault or never to their credit. Now, we want to show you a couple more things here from Janet Reno, and we have Senator Fritz Hollings with some brilliant speech-making from the Senate hearing room where this took place. But first, we sent our cameras out. We asked some people on the street whether or not the government ought to get involved in determining what should be seen on television in the area of violence. And here is what we found out there.
Sir, do you think that the government should regulate violence on television and in the movies?
Absolutely. Because it increases violence. You can see it with the kids, in school, with everybody.
No. I don't think, I think if you want to go watch something, you can watch it. It's freedom of choice.
Well, I think they should have started doing that a long time ago. I think it's gone pretty far now. I think, yes, actually, as an answer to my question, maybe they could regulated on certain channels and things like that.
The crime comes from really the parents, the old generation. And I think that a lot of people, because of the working parents out there, you know, they're not really home to support the children.
I don't believe in censorship. I don't believe in censorship because it's destructive. It's destructive to the fabric of the country. We need a free flow and a free exchange of ideas, and the marketplace should really regulate what we see or what we don't see. People think there's too much violence on television. They should turn their TV sets off and read a book.
Last two people. That's right. That is absolutely right. And I want to expand, not to impugn anybody else with that tape. The last two people made the most sense about this whole question. Want to show you now Senator Hollings, who doesn't even know what's on television, as he attempts now here to regulate it. Watch this.
The TV is the most pervasive parent. It's called a narcotic, but the truth of the matter is, and we've got to acknowledge it, it's the most pervasive of parents all children see. We got this, was it Buffcoat and Beaver or Beaver and something else they had? I haven't seen it. I don't watch it, but whatever it is, it was at 7 o'clock. Buffcoat, and they put it on now at 10:30, I think. They've pleaded guilty, and they'll do it as long as you and I have hearings, but we just can't have hearings like we've had now for 40 years and get nowhere. And yeah, we'll go see the Attorney General, we'll go see the chairman, we'll go see. We good people, you good people, and we doing it. But the truth of the matter is, it's more and more pervasive, more and more violence on television. Can't we do that and not really be constitutionally in violation or really hurting, as you and I don't want to do, the First Amendment?
Yeah, what? Yeah, you got people, we got people, and we doing it. He's been talking to Christine Gebbe, you know, the new AIDS czar. Look, this is really tough because can you imagine if the the First Amendment really was intended to cover political speech, and I think if the Founding Fathers, think of this, can you imagine if, say, Alexander Hamilton, George Washington, any of the guys who signed the Declaration, worked on the Constitution, came back and saw Beavis and Butthead. I mean, can you just see these guys as Beavis and Butthead signing the kind of Declaration? This is cool. I mean, there's no question there are problems, and there's a lot of idiots doing television. And I disagree with some. I want a couple of quotes here from Janet Reno. Let's look at this still story from, this is from USA Today's cover story on Thursday. It says here, I want to challenge TV to substantially reduce its violent programming now, or else the government will have to intervene. We need to put a period in there after programming now. Get that else the government will intervene stuff out of there. Here's another quote from her. Where she makes sense. This woman occasionally does, and it's hard to pin her down ideologically. But the promise of television remains vastly unfulfilled. Too much of today's programming neither uplifts nor even reflects our national values and standards. Instead of disseminating the best in our culture, television too often panders to our lowest common denominator. She is right. She's absolutely right, folks, about that. But still, here's what you cannot lose sight of. Mass marketing bad taste makes people think that most of America likes bad taste, but it doesn't. The vast majority of the population of this country don't indulge in bad taste. They don't live it that way. Bad taste doesn't make headlines. Bad taste does not make news, or it does make news. Good taste and people following high standards, that's dull and boring. And people who engage in maintaining high standards and setting high standards and living their lives according to the traditional values and institutions that made this country great, they're made fun of. But you can't cave into this, folks. But you don't want the government moving in and turning television into a government propaganda arm. Look, it's real simple. If you don't like Beavis and Butthead, turn it off. It's real simple. There's an on-off switch, and this is not cliched to say. I can't believe when you see 8,000 hours a year of television or whatever it is people are watching, gee whiz, it's too much. But it's not that difficult. You don't need to have the government do for you what you can do for yourself, because once you start letting them do for you what you can do for yourself, you'll never be able to do it for yourself again. They won't let you. So if you don't like your kids watching stuff, don't watch it. Turn it off. It's a vast wasteland anyway, except for this show where we maintain high standards. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Here's an opportunity for you to receive a free copy of National Review's special report on Rush Limbaugh.
Hi, I'm Bill Buckley. I'm doing one of the things I've liked most to do since I was 13 years old. My favorite diversion, except for reading National Review. When you sail, you need to keep your eyes on the weather. National Review does that, keeps its eyes on changes in the world scene, political, economic, and cultural. My purpose in founding National Review was to give people an alternative to the single-voiced commentary now known as politically correct. Call the number on your screen. Try the magazine. If you don't like it, write cancel on the bill, and we'll refund you for all unmailed issues. And you can even write me an angry letter.
Call this toll-free number now, and we'll send you absolutely free National Review's special report on Rush Limbaugh.
You don't go sailing without looking at the charts, looking at the barometer, and you shouldn't walk a block without checking in with National Review.
Call 800-441-4949 for an 18-issue trial subscription to National Review for only $29.95. Call now.
It's not what a person says they will do. It's what they've done that counts. As Erie County Family Court Judge, Frank Sedita Jr. was compassionate and fair. As Buffalo's chief city court judge, he has taken on the criminals and slumlords to improve Buffalo's neighborhoods, running such an effective housing court that the Buffalo News named him an outstanding citizen for 1992. Sedita, a judge we've trusted in the past, a judge we need for our future. Judge Sedita for Supreme Court.
I don't give up. When homeowners call me for a second mortgage loan, I work to get them the best rate we have available, even as low as 7.5%.
Call Personal Mortgage Corporation, and you'll find people like Matt who are determined to get you a rate that'll be hard to beat.
Some banks may offer attractive rates, but with us, we think you have a better chance of getting approved.
Call 1-800-DIAL-PMC, Personal Mortgage Corporation. When it comes to second mortgages, we approve.
I have to apologize for something here because I went along with some other stuff. There's a brilliant piece that appeared in the Thursday edition of the Wall Street Journal. Daniel Cass, there it is, Shades of Carter in the Clinton healthcare plan. What he's done here is gone back and compared the way Jimmy Carter's presidency ultimately failed with a stupid panic-generated energy program based on all kinds of contrived energy crises and fuel shortages and everything else. And he makes the point that it was this expansive program that nobody could ever understand, that nobody could ever make head or tails of, that gave Ronald Reagan his opening to go in and just campaign on a smaller, less interventive government, interventionist government in people's lives. And this thing sends chills up down my back because I have been beating around this issue for a long time. He really nailed it. I wish I had written this, because he talks about how there needs to be philosophical opposition to the health care plan, and the Republicans are just waiting for a career to be made. I want to take you through this, but I'm not going to be able to do it. There's simply not enough time, and I don't want to just throw this stuff on the screen. So we'll do it, I promise you, on our next show. I want to take a break here, come back, just show you some of the latest health care problems the administration has. They're major, and it's all good. We'll be back after this.
So the idea hits me. Chicken sounds good. I head for Long John. Something tells me I should. For $1.99, I hear a voice say, chicken at Long John's will blow you away. Hey, what am I thinking? Am I in outer space? Can the world's best chicken be at a fish place? And the voice said chicken at Long John's is just a thing. So many choices, those taste buds will spin. So I stopped at the sign, couldn't believe my eyes. Got the $1.99 fish, chicken, and fries. So if you're thinking chicken, you gotta go fish. At Long John's Silver's, you're gonna get your wish.
Rust. What it can do to the outside of your car, weak, neglected antifreeze can do to the inside. You need Presto. No matter what happens to the outside, Prestone protects the inside. Prestone stops the rust that stops your car.
Save 50% on quality carpet when you buy direct from the mill, S&S Mills.
Call now to receive a free video and discover how you can cut out the middleman and save 50%. Call 1-800-42-DIRECT. That's 1-800-42-DIRECT.
Here at America's Fitness Warehouse, we believe working out together is a family tradition. We know exercise helps you get in shape, stay healthy, and it's a great way of relieving everyday stress. No one ever said exercise was easy, but it can be fun. At America's Fitness, we have the finest selection of home gyms, stair climbers, bikes, treadmills, skiers, benches, and weights, all at the lowest possible price. So stop in at America's Fitness Warehouse and make exercise your family tradition. You'll be glad you did. I'm Ron Krett, and you have my word on it.
We watched the news stories. Our guests lived them.
It was 3 a.m. The knock at the door came, and then I realized that the girls hadn't made it home yet.
I went up to the window and popped the seal on it and kicked out the window and jumped out into the water.
I opened the door, reached in, grabbed him, pulled him out, and drug him from the vehicle. Even as I was doing so, someone smashed a bottle across his face.
See the personal stories behind the headlines on the next Les Brown Show.
This morning at 11 on Channel 4.
Tough, smart, definitely not one of the boys. Wrath, she took on the county hall crowd and won, fighting the Gorski tax hike and passing real fiscal reform. As our state senator, Mary Lou Rath will oppose wasteful Albany spending, and she'll take on Cuomo and his taxes in order to spur jobs and economic growth. Rath, she's gone toe-to-toe with Dennis Gorski. She'll go head-to-head with Mario Cuomo. Elect Rath, state senator, a proven tax fighter.
Time goes on, the truth comes out about this health care plan. Take a look at this story. USA Today, more health plan exemptions sought. This is a story about the National Association of Manufacturers say, hey, we need some exemptions from this health care plan. And the administration says, okay, so they're caving in here and there. This is another interesting story. Hillary's task force lacks records. White House lawyers in a surprising federal court revelation yesterday said that First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton's health care reform task force was so disorganized its total membership can't even be determined. They can't even find out who put this thing together. It's all a sham. They can't, there are no details. We knew more about who was running the Soviet Union because we could have pictures at least and find out who those people were. Finally, this is not good news. Look at this headline, my good friends. This is from the New York Post. That's Governor Cuomo. Health care plan bodes ill for New York. Says state has taken too many federal hits. Aha, here comes the old Reagan problem now. You know, New York's in bad shape because of Reagan and Bush, now Reagan, Bush, Clinton. This simply means that Cuomo wants something. And unless he gets it, like the next Supreme Court nomination or whatever it is, he's going to be running out there, running down the health care plan, and this is how he operates. I'll get what I want. I'll start criticizing what they need. They'll have to buy me off. Keep an eye on Cuomo. What does he get? That's how they silence him. We're out of time. Wish we weren't, but we've got a new show soon, so we'll see you then.